What's going on with Clayton Kershaw? Should Bobby Miller be the Dodgers Game 1 starter? That's coming up next on Dodgers Nation Mailbag. What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mag here, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Nation Mailbag, where we answer all of your burning Dodgers questions, and we want to know from you down below in the comment section, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level at for Clayton Kershaw's recent dip in velocity? Can they trust that he's going to be able to go throughout the postseason and pitch like an ace? Also, should Bobby Miller be the Dodgers Game 1 starter? Let us know down below. And also, if you want to be a part of the Dodgers Nation Mailbag, be sure to look for us over on Twitter. Reply with your questions. Also look for us over on YouTube. Goes once a week, and we're also always looking for those video submissions. Record a video of you asking your Dodgers related questions, and we will feature it on this show. But let's get right into it. And as always, I'm joined by producer Spencer, who's going to be feeding me this week's questions. What up, Spence? What you got for me, my man?
Clayton Kershaw doesn't look right. What can we expect from him for the rest of the season and the postseason?
So it is very concerning for me. I mean, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at an 8 right now. Last night, 3:30 in the morning, I woke up in a cold sweat just thinking about his start yesterday against the Marlins. And the velocity continues to dip. He averaged 88.4 miles per hour on his fastball. That's almost 3 ticks lower than his season average of 91.1 miles per hour. That was the second lowest average on his fastball in a game in his career. Only time he had a lower fastball average was back on May 31st in 2018, where he threw 31 heaters and averaged 88.3 miles per hour. But what happened after that start? He went on the IL for 3 weeks. So that tells you that anytime you have a dip in velocity for Clayton Kershaw, a lot of times it leads to an IL stint. But you can't have that in this situation because of where we are. In early September, you need him to ramp up. You need him to get stretched out to 5, 6, 7 innings so he can be a workhorse starter for this rotation. Because if you look at this rotation right now, you have Clayton Kershaw, a future Hall of Famer, and a bunch of young guys, a bunch of rookies, and Lance Lynn. But I think Clayton Kershaw right now, you definitely have to feel very concerned if you're a Dodgers fan. And kind of to dive a little deeper into it, if you look at that slider as well, the slider just isn't as sharp as we've seen it. What I always say Clayton Kershaw is a happily married man, but he has a slide piece. And that slider is one of the best and most effective pitches in baseball. But right now the command is off. It doesn't have that same depth. It doesn't have that same bite that we saw at the beginning of the season, and he knows it. And the reason why I say that is because he's using it less. Last night, he threw that slider 32% of the time. On the year, he had been throwing it 44% of the time. So you're seeing him add more changeups, add more curveballs, and that tells you that right now he's not as confident in that slider. And when Clayton Kershaw is at his most effective, it's when he has the fastball command and then he has the slider. And then he's tunneling it well, and that slider just falls off the table and it gets hitters. And he's living low and he's living long, and he's getting swing and miss at the bottom of the zone. You are not seeing that right now. And I think if you want to spin a positive on this, if you want to look at the Mitch Lotta half full, is that he does not have to have a 96, 97 mile per hour fastball to be effective. We've seen that in recent years. He's not a Noah Syndergaard type. He has reinvented himself, but what he does need is he needs the command. He needs to be able to throw that fastball on the edges, on the black, and not leave it out over the heart of the plate. You saw during yesterday's game when he gave the 2-run home run to Josh Bell, it was an 88 mile per hour fastball right in the zone, and he tattooed it. And that's what's going to happen against big league hitters, and we're going to see that in the postseason. But the difference yesterday, though, was that it was a 2-run shot. It wasn't of the solo shot variety, and that is something that you live with Clayton Kershaw. You will live with the solo home runs. It's just the 2-run shots, the 3-run shots that you can't have. And the walk to Jorge Soler earlier in that inning came back to bite him. And that was actually, in fact, the first time that runs were scored against Kershaw on something other than a solo home run over the last 10 starts, going back until the beginning of June. So it's been quite some time before you've seen a multi-home run game against Kershaw, a home run that's worth more than a solo shot, and that's just not something that you can see. Now, like I said, you can feel good about the fact that Kersh is not velocity reliant. For him to be effective, he does not need to pump gas, but he needs that command. And my my fear right now is that if you want to see vintage Kersh, I think he has to almost reinvent himself once again for him to be a part of this rotation if that velocity doesn't pick up. Because the big question I have right now is he healthy? Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be able to be a workhorse starting pitcher for the Dodgers that they so desperately need to have any chance to win the World Series? And after the game, Dave Roberts, he conceded that Kershaw is limited right now because of that shoulder. Now, in his 5 starts returning from the injured list, if you look at the results, they're not terrible. A 2.86 ERA in those 5 starts, but you look at the strikeout numbers, you look at the walks, 18 strikeouts to 10 walks in 22 innings of work. That is not vintage Kershaw. That to me looks like a Kershaw with a vintage arm that does not look like it has a lot of tread on the tires. And you look at that shoulder and it is very concerning. And Dave Roberts said the stuff might be down. It's where he is right now physically, and he looks like there is some wear, but he's willing and wanting to take the ball, and that's huge. He's going to keep doing that until he can't. So that tells you right now that Kersh and the goal for this team is ramping him up. And that's one of the luxuries of having a lead in this division. And they're not chasing the Braves right now. So yesterday, did they lose? They did. But did they win by helping him ramp up and getting more mileage on that arm to try to get him where he needs to be in the postseason? Yeah, you can live with that. And as bad as he was yesterday, he still almost left the game with the lead despite giving up those 5 walks. But yeah, something needs to change with Clayton Kershaw. I think right now you probably, we're going to talk about this in a second, have to have a long conversation if he's going to be your game 1 starter. Because if you're just looking at all the pitchers in this group right now, as far as how they pitched in the last 2 weeks, there's no way you can say that Clayton Kershaw is pitching better than Bobby Miller at the moment. And then you factor in Bobby Miller's repertoire and his stuff and how that'll play up in the postseason. So really, I think if this keeps up and Clayton Kershaw does not get back to full strength, and I think there is a chance that he does retire. I hate to say that, but I do think that Clayton Kershaw is not going to be the type that's going to come back and be a number 4 or 5 starter, anything like that. I always say he's more Kobe Bryant than Vince Carter, right? He's going to want to go out guns a-blazing, 60-point game versus coming off the bench as a role player. That's not how he's built. And the reality is you just have to savor every moment of Clayton Kershaw's career. There's 10 home games left for the Dodgers. And I think that right now, Kersh is someone that, look, he's already beat the video game on story mode. He's doing the side quests at this point. He is a made man, right? But I think that that's definitely going to be a conversation you're going to have. I mean, he's 16 years in the league. They grow up way too fast. Before you know it, they're already driving the car, right? And at this point, he's a classic car, but sometimes those classic cars, they belong in a museum. And I don't think that you want to keep running him out there if he can't be effective. But like I said, this is someone who's already one of the game's great pitchers. I mean, look at his career. World Series winner, MVP, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, Triple Crown winner, league leader in wins, strikeouts, and ERA, 5-time ERA title, 10-time All-Star Gold Glove. You look at his career whip, just over 1, a 2.48 career ERA. That's the lowest in the modern era. 2,930 strikeouts, 209 wins, 157 career ERA plus. So that right there tells you he's a walking statue. He's a walking Hall of Famer. He has nothing to prove, but you look at those strikeouts right there. I mean, if he could get to 3K strikeouts, that would be nice, and he would like to make another World Series run. But yeah, I mean, this is someone who has been one of the best pitchers in the game for a long time, but he's not going to accept anything else other than being a frontline starter. And if he doesn't think he can do that and be that at this stage of his career, I do think he will hang them up. And Dodgers fans, don't worry, he'll never wear another team's hat, right? He's never going to play on another team. He's going to be a Dodger. But I just think that if this keeps up and you look at his shoulder and it doesn't build strength, I think it's definitely concerning. I would not rule out him retiring after this season. But Spencer, fire away. What's the next question?
Is Bobby Miller going to wear down in the postseason? Should he be the game 1 starter?
I think right now, when you look at it, with Bobby Miller pitching the way he has, with the growth that he's shown, not just a guy going out there relying on a 4-seam fastball, going out there relying on his nasty stuff. He's someone that commands 5 pitches. He's someone that his changeup is his best pitch, and you've seen him be effective with that, but he still has that ability. Look at the at-bat, him versus Ronald Acuna Jr., just throwing a 98 miles per hour fastball by him, and when you look at his averages, averaging just under 99 on that two-seam and that four-seam fastball, that tells me that the velocity isn't triple digits always, and when it's not triple digits, and he's not trying to go out there and break the catcher's hand, right, and throw through a titanium wall, that I think the command improves, and I think the effectiveness of his secondary pitches improves as well. So this is someone who's grown. He's someone that I think is built different and built for this. I've said it before, he's got that main character energy, and I think right now, when you consider the expectations of this team following the news of Julio Urias, why not go with Bobby Miller as your game one starter? Why not start thinking of the future and give him the ball in a big spot and give him that confidence, knowing that, hey, if Kershaw's gone, if you don't make any big signings, Walker Buehler will be back next year, but this is a guy who could be the foundational piece of your rotation. I mean, look at Fernando, look at Clayton Kershaw. They were all in their early 20s when they got the ball, when they had an impact for this team early in their careers. If you look at Bobby Miller, he's right there, 24 years old. So to me, this is someone who, if you're built like this and you are going to be a future ace, then there's no reason why you shouldn't already be going out there in big games as your game one starter. So for me right now, Bobby Miller, I've been on the Clayton Kershaw game one starter train the whole year, but considering how he's looked of late, one, I can't even trust or guarantee myself that he's going to be in the Dodgers rotation in the postseason. I wouldn't be shocked if there was some type of setback. We saw a late injury like we saw in 2021. Like I said, I'm not trying to fear monger. I'm just trying to be realistic, right? I always say hope is not a strategy, right? You can't just hope for this stuff. You always have to have your plan B, C, and D, right? And I think with Bobby Miller right now, might as well just go for it and make him your game one starter. And he's someone that I think is going to be a household name after this postseason. But that is going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Mailbag. Special thanks to super producer, my man Spencer over there, coming up with the hard-hitting Dodgers questions. But that's going to do it. And let us know down below in the comment section, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level right now with Clayton Kershaw, his dip in velocity, the lack of command? What is your concern level? And who is your game one starter? Is it going to be Bobby big time? I think it's going to be big game Bob for the Dodgers in game one. Now, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you really want to support the channel, hit that like button. And also, we still have our Mookie Betts authentic jersey giveaway. This isn't a giveaway jersey. This is an authentic jersey. This is the one that Mookie Betts rocks. You got the clean number 50, authentic, what the players wear. We just need to hit 70,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and you will be eligible to win. If you're already subscribed, you are already eligible. And we're going to have tons of giveaways, big time giveaways throughout the rest of this year and in the postseason. But that's going to do it for this episode. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.